Hello and welcome to this Festival Pro tutorial video. Today we're going to look at the default artist workflow. So this is a standard way that we can get an artist into the platform. We can assign them with any bits of information that we might have about them, schedule them, send and return advances and send out personalized schedules to everybody. So the first thing we want to look at is how to get the artists into your system. There's a couple of different ways to do this. If you've got a CSV, you can import that already, and there will be a deep dive video separately that you can go into more detail on this, but in essence you need to be logged into your config mode, and then under configuration there's an option here to import CSVs. But the more common ways would be either via some kind of application or by booking yourself through an agency. So we'll have a look at both of those routes. If you're taking applications, if we go dashboard and forms, under artist forms we will see our default forms, one of which is an artist application form. You can see this is a public form because it has got the visit and copy URL here. These ones have preview because they're auto login links, they're private forms such as advances and schedules, and we'll get to those in a minute. The artist application form people can then fill in with any of the details that you might have on here, and you can edit all of these forms yourself. These are the default questions that come on the form. However, we can click onto settings, and in here we can work on moving fields around, clicking into edit or delete things that you don't need, and then you can come down and add new fields as well if you want to add new questions into your form. Once someone has completed that form, they'll end up in your registrations, and you'll see that they are then companies in your platform. We've got Silent Uproar, Middle Child, 201 Dance Company. And once someone is a contact in your platform, they can then be assigned one of any profile fields. Now I'll click on profile fields here on the end, get this pop up, and in here we can see all sorts of different things such as stages, and we'll set these on a calendar in a minute. I'll show you that. Things like the performance fee, exclusivity. For now we're just going to look at confirming them, and that's up here at the top. We just want to confirm the artist, save that, and then they'll show up in your artist view all confirmed. Now if you're adding an artist from scratch, such as if you're booking via an agency or directly with the band, what we want to do is add them into the platform manually. We can do that by going to Artist Add New, and within this window all we really need to think about is taking the artist name and the first name, last name and email address of the artist. So I'm going to put in here Moldy Peaches as the artist name, Kimmy Dawson as the lead contact or band leader, and an email address. Down below we're going to see all of the different profile fields: accommodation, accreditation, catering, travel. Again, these are fields that we could set against this artist, but for now I'm just going to mark them as confirmed and add them into the platform. And here we have the Moldy Peaches with an empty profile. Now we've got our artists in the platform, either via the application, the upload, or adding them manually. We want to start assigning different things to them and scheduling them to shows or performances. If I go into Artists and Festival Calendar, we will see the calendar in week view. If we click into Saturday, we'll get into our day view, and in here we can then add a performance. So let's go ahead and click on this little plus button, find the Moldy Peaches. Maybe we'll give them a 30-minute performance, and if we click into their profile here by clicking on their name, we can see that performance is now in their profile. If I drag this over quickly to the children's stage and refresh their profile, we'll see that now they're scheduled to the children's stage. And if I click this history icon over in the corner, we can see the times that I have changed this. and the user who has done it. The other way to schedule artists or performers would be on the shows calendar. Go to artists, shows and calendar. We get instead our show calendar, and again we start with weekly view. You click on a day to drill into the day view, and the difference between the shows calendar and the festival calendar is that you can definitely think of these like buckets. Each show you create can have multiple artists on it instead of just one artist following another. If I add a new show in here, you can see all the different fields that can combine to make the show information, and you can customize and add your own things into here. If I just go ahead and click in here, we can see where you can add the artist and all of the acts that are already on this show. If I go to the Moldy Peaches, who I put on a show earlier, we can see they are on the opening ceremony, and it pulls all of that show information through that was in that show group. Now we have them scheduled for a few things, let's look at some of the other profile fields within Festival Pro. I'm already in the artist profile here, and I can click edit on the side and get into the edit mode where I can see all the different sections here, accommodation, accreditation and so on. But I can also then search perhaps for the Moldy Peaches and bring them up this way, and this allows me to either click into the profile fields pop-up where we can edit things like this, and perhaps we want to put in their performance fee, the type of act that they might be. We can save this information against them. You'll notice that in here the stages and performances are already set, and that's show panel because we set them on the calendar. You can also use the add columns feature. This is really handy. We can see these same categories, but then we can edit down in a list view. So I maybe want to add the general accreditation, assign them some passes, and now I come down and give them, say, 6 of these and 5 of those. And these things that we're setting in now can come in handy in a minute when we start to send out things like the artist advance and their schedule. So let's just go ahead and assign some accommodation to them. Maybe we can get them to stay in the Premier Inn. Put in a check-in and check-out date and time. And we should give them some travel as well, actually, so we can see what that looks like when it pulls through onto the advance. I'm just going to add some ground transport. Give them Bo Duke as the driver, and again just put in pickup and duration time. Now everything that we're setting in here also automates onto a calendar view as well. So if we just go back to our festival calendar, we can see that there's a drop down over here, and we can go into, say, travel, into a day, and here's all of those routes. And we can flip the view as well, come in here, go to, say, vehicle type or driver, and here we can see Bo Duke's going to struggle to do cabbage and suede at the same time, so I can drag this over here, which updates Dominic's, Suede's and Bo's schedule all at once. Now if we go back and look at our artist's profile again, we're going to see this start to fill out. We've now got an accommodation entry, an accreditation entry, some of the artist information shows. What we don't have is some of the information we need back from them. For example, the artist's biography, perhaps their social media information, tech specs, so on and so forth. And this is where the artist advance comes in. Things like the artist biography, we probably want to collect on a form directly from the artist themselves. So let's go to Dashboard and Forms, under Artist Forms, and find our default Artist Advance form. The first thing we want to do is just make sure the form is set up correctly, has all the questions that we require. If I click into Settings on this advanced form, we're going to see all of our defaults. We've got the orange fields here. Now these are groups. You may not need meal tickets for each name taken. This here is the accreditation field. It's going to be limited to the numbers that we set in the box earlier. We'll take names for those. and we can see there's a ticket icon here, which means it's generating tickets. If we click into edit, in here we'll be able to see at the top the type of field that we have here, which is, as we say, a contact collect field, along with your field options. So in this case it's going to generate a ticket for each name being collected. Further down on this form we are taking arrival times, tech specs, social media questions. You can always add new fields yourself and then build out the form that you want to see. If we click into this top page text area, it will have been pre-built to have all of the main default sections in here, and the code itself is saying not blank, performance fee is. If the performance fee section in the artist profile is blank, this stuff here won't show. This is an advanced mail merge that we just have automatically set up for people. In most cases you can just go into mail merge, all of those profiles fields that we looked at a moment ago, and you could mail merge in anything relating to them. So let's take our artist advance and send it to the Moldy Peaches. What you do not want to do is go to your forms list and try to take a preview URL from here and give this out to anybody, because this is not going to be a legitimate link. The system needs to know who they are. We have to send them an encrypted link via an email template, and we do have a default one over here. Files and templates is where you'll find these if you want to adjust them. Here's the artist advance one. I can go options and edit. In here we can see the important thing is the link here that we're sending them has got this contact ent string stuff at the end, which in essence is going to say it's going to encrypt based upon the user's profile and send them a unique URL, like a magic link that they click, it logs them in directly to the platform, and then we'll start to save any of their answers for their artist advance against their profile. So to do this, send this template, we just need to fire off an email. Now if you're doing this in bulk, you can do perhaps say a search for all of your artists on a certain stage. Maybe everyone on the children's stage, can run a search for that. And here we have the Moldy Peaches still on that stage. And if I clicked on bulk mail, that is going to send an email to everybody in this list. You'll always find bulk emails at the bottom of every search results list, including other options like form overview to show you what they've returned, exporting and updating everybody in the list. In this terms, I'm just going to click on the email address to send an individual email. And in here I can choose from the list of templates the artist advance that we were just looking at. And as I said before, this is going to generate a unique link. So we can send that and see that once the email has been sent, it's mail merged into customizations. And then if I click on this link, we get to the artist advance. All of that stuff we saw in the top page text section comes in here at the top. Performance fee, stage times, shows, ticket allocations, ground transport. These are all the things that we already knew and preset into the system. And then below are all of those fields that we had on the form. So their ticket allocation they can set, meal tickets against each one. You can see here are the limits of how many tickets that they are allowed to allocate. And another, change this to artist guest. You can see the numbers changing down here. The same kind of thing can be done for vehicle passes. I didn't allocate any vehicle passes, so nothing is showing here. But if we go back to the system, into the Moldy Peaches profile, and add into the accreditation a couple of maybe 3 living vehicle passes. Whatever you set is always live and up to date. So if I go back over to the artist advance and then refresh, you can see now I can set up to 3 vehicles as well, 3 living vehicles. Collect your tech specs, audio specs, biographies, whatever it is that you might need on the advance. So I've just filled this form up with some dummy information, and I'm going to submit the form. And now if we go back to our artist profile and refresh, we're going to see at the bottom here under form entries their artist advance return. And again, if I go dashboard and forms, we go to our artist advance and registrations. There we go, at the top there is the Moldy Peaches registration. Now if we want to view this, we can dig a bit deeper and see everything that they've filled in. And here's the ticket names that they allocated. These are the ticket codes that they have. And I can come down to here, we can view the tickets. And these are the tickets that will get scanned in by the artist upon arrival using our Android or iOS apps, or scanners which you can hire from Festival Pro. As well as the advance, you'd usually like to send the artist a schedule so that they can see everything that's happening in chronological order in one place, and we've got a live link that we can do that with. So I'm going to use the same contact that we've been using. And instead of sending the artist advance, this time I'm going to send the schedule. And you'll see here it's going to bring in everything with a time and date attached to it. So here's that hotel they're staying in, the ground transport we set them, here's the show and the opening ceremony that they're involved with, and here is their stage performance on the children's stage. I can send this and you can see the correspondence starts to build up. So you get a track of what you've sent people, and then we can come in here and they get this live link. And you can see at the top, every form operates as a portal. So they've actually done their artist advance, but you know, the schedule hasn't been viewed yet, so it's marked as incomplete. If they were to say that they've seen it and mark it as off, this would then turn to complete as well. But if I click on here, you can see I can hop to my artist advance. They can come back and edit information if they need to. And here is their schedule, which again is live and up to date. If anything were to change in the platform, if you schedule them a different driver change or the type of vehicle, maybe an airport pickup changes, then that will automatically change on the artist profile schedule there as well. So to recap, that was a look at our default workflow for artists and how you can add them into your system either manually or via an application form, or you could do it via an import. You could then take those artists and schedule them either on the festival calendar or over on the show's calendar. You can then assign them all their various bits of accreditation, various artist fields, add your own fields in config here if you so need. You can add all your travel. You've seen how you can also add those type of things and edit them on the calendar mode as well. And then building out your artist advance form, how to send an auto login link via an email template, how to edit your artist advance and adjust it to whatever you might require, and then how to view those registrations when they come back. Again, using email templates to send out everybody's schedules. I hope this has been a good introduction to the default standard workflow for artists. There's a lot of other layers and a lot of other videos that you'll be able to dive into in terms of what you can do after you've collected this information. You can export it in a ton of ways. You can make live bookmark links. There's a possibility with all these calendars to use the public website module and take it all into a public calendar mode. There are many things to discover, but this default artist workflow is a good place to start for getting your artists into the platform, being able to schedule them, add things against them, send them their schedules. So I hope this video has been useful in getting you started with Festival Pro. And as ever, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to get in touch with us via the support button at the top of your system.